right. Hi, guys. Good morning. And there are a lot of things that we've been discussing over the last few days. But one of the things that I personally love is to dig deeper on some of the biggest launches and drops the brands do. And every time there is a big launch or a big drop coming up, it's not just the founders or the e-com founders who run the show. It's usually the agencies who typically manage everything, right from setting up the campaign, right from planning the how the setup is done on their backend systems, be it email, SMS, or mobile app push notification, ads, making sure everything is aligned, running together. And obviously, agencies like you guys are really expert, and you guys have done it way more than any other brand have probably done it on their own. So, welcome to the show, guys. This is Drop Culture. We usually discuss about product drops and launches with some of the biggest brands, with some of the biggest agencies out here. And super happy to have you both here. And so. Uh, Guys who's listening, so we have Matt and Charles, who are the founders of ShopFuel, and we've been running the show with them on our side for probably for the first 3 years, I guess.
Mhm.
So they've been working with us, helping brands with their mobile app strategy. But at the same time, they are like, they're really good at pretty much everything you can think of. They're one of the few, full stack service agency who can help you with your ads, who can help you with the retention marketing and everything in between too. So, but that's more like my version of your intro. I would love you guys to, drop an intro the best way that you think is for you guys.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us on.
Right.
And yeah, this is Charles. I'm Matt. We started ShopFuel 10 years ago. We were both kind of freelance marketers doing it on our own, and then met up and decided that we should join forces. And primarily, we're helping local businesses do their marketing. We got introduced to a lot of local fashion retailer brands. That was probably the first 4 or 5 years of our business where our focus was. And then COVID hit.
Oh.
And during the pandemic, we helped a lot of our local retailers move to an online presence and kind of found our stride there, and transition into helping primarily e-commerce brands with their marketing. So since then, for the last 5 years, really that's been our main focus, is growing e-commerce brands, primarily Shopify brands in the fashion, clothing, and accessories industries. And then we do everything from Facebook and Google ads, managing Shopify websites, email and SMS marketing, and then, of course, mobile app development.
Nice. That's great.
Mhm.
And so when you started working, and you mentioned that during COVID you transitioned into moving digitally, like how big was that shift? Because I know COVID in itself was a bit crazy, but you moving into as from a business type to kind of, so I believe that the pre-COVID world was a lot more on helping like physical business who probably had a store, helping them reach their audience, driving more footfall into their store. And then I believe that that later moved into more digital. So how big was that transition as a business for you guys, especially as an agency?
Yeah, it was pretty big. I mean, we were going, how we started, we went door to door in Dallas, knocked on basically every single business in Dallas, and we talked to basically every single business owner who has a brick and mortar. And yeah, they all wanted just foot traffic in their store. Most of them didn't even have an online presence, online store. People could buy stuff from them on Shopify, but we just, and COVID hit, we started to they didn't have a choice. They had to go online. They had to figure it out. And so we were there. We built out some websites before that had a lot of traction, and we watched the numbers just scale up very quickly on those websites during COVID, and everyone couldn't open their store. So, I mean, the transition just kind of happened naturally. But yeah, as far as our marketing goes and our campaigns, transitioning to honestly a more concrete, proven metrics around purchases, right? So when you're running local campaigns, especially on ads, it's less cut and dry, the results, right? You're talking about clicks, you're talking about reach, you're talking about impressions. But when we're running conversion campaigns, we're running, optimizing for purchases. We can talk directly about returns. We can talk
Right.
directly about purchases and sales. So,
And we've always been passionate about being a performance-based agency, like focused on growth and real results for our clients. We when we got started, we didn't want to just be the guys that made pretty pictures and
Yeah.
broad stroke branding. That just wasn't us. And so the move to e-commerce, to online conversion tracking, really fit well with our mission for our clients, which is to give them real, tangible, proven results that proves that the work that we're doing is worth it for them. So growing brands online allows us to show them exactly what they're getting as a return for the investment that they're putting into their marketing.
Right. Oh, that's great. So probably we will slowly ease into the whole topic about product drops. Because one of the things I personally love is as a consumer, right? When I look at it and then they say, hey, I'm looking at my favorite brand on my phone, and then I receive an email or a text saying that, hey, the summer drops out now, or the autumn drop is out, or especially big time with BFCM. Like, I'm genuinely excited to purchasing is one thing, but I'm genuinely excited just to stay on the know. Okay, this is coming soon. I need to be prepared. I need to be mentally, putting the budget to say, you know what, I'm gonna buy this for sure, right? Or I'm gonna best look out. I might not buy this time, but I still wanna look out to know that what am I missing.
Right.
And so on the agency side, I think when you guys look at it, the picture, right, it's going to be very different, right? So when a brand comes to you and say, hey, let's do this drop, how do you guys usually get started? Like, is there a process to it, or is it more of a pre-planned template, or is it like, you tailor it for each brand and each audience? So how does that all work?
Yeah. So there are really three different types of brands that we work with, and one, brands that don't do drops, right? Two, brands that do small drops. They're basically taking their new arrivals and disguising it as a drop, putting a name on it, right?
Right.
And that's okay. That actually can work, and it produces results. It produces more results than just not naming it.
Yeah.
But then the best brands and the biggest brands are ones who put a conscious effort into big drops. Like you were talking about, like seasonal drops or monthly drops. I feel like that's a pretty good cadence. That's a pretty good frequency. So yeah, I mean, there's so much planning that goes into it. It's not a cut and dry template, but I'll tell you, 100% of their money is made in advance. It's in advance of the drop. It is how much effort and planning and strategy that goes into actually what you're trying to accomplish, when you're trying to accomplish it, the content, the inventory, the marketing, all of the work is in advance, right? Not only that, but what some people don't understand is if the first time your customers hear about your drop, if the first time that is when the products are live already on the site, you've missed the mark with those customers. Like you were saying, anticipation, you're thinking about the autumn drop. What am I going to purchase from this brand as the consumer side? So that's the idea, is you got to build the hype. You got to build the awareness about the drop. You got to, get them thinking about it far in advance. In fact, some of our biggest brands, we probably run half of the ad spend in advance of the drop before products are even live on the site. So a ton of planning and preparation goes into it. I would say, all of it, the winners and the losers are decided in how much planning goes into it, right? And how much preparation. But the biggest brands, they're buying their inventory months out. They're photographing it at least a month out. And we are finished and scheduled with all campaigns a couple weeks out. We start promoting it about a week out. So
nice. No, I don't think I imagined, especially the inventory part, like how far out they have to plan. And I believe that, so if they are placing the order and getting the inventory a few months out, I think even from their own product development standpoint, like for them to research and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to place this, or I'm going to manufacture this, or I'm going to import this, they have to plan that probably even 2 quarters out, I guess.
Right.
So,
yeah. Some of our best clients, we have calls with them where we are putting things on the calendar for 2026. We're planning out for next year.
Right. Yeah, I think that world works very differently. Now I'm super curious, right? So you mentioned all the stuff that goes through a whole launch process. Now I'm curious to know the details, right? Like I would love to know if there is that one launch that you think that, you know what, this is something that we are super proud about. We have done so much with it, be it in terms of the success, the returns you are able to bring, or in terms of how much the brand realized, especially as compared to some of the previous drop that they did.
Sure.
What would that be if you can dive deeper into the details, like some of the details you mentioned in terms of how you plan things out, how you are done with the campaigns 2 weeks out, and how the anticipation is also built almost even before the whole thing is live. I would love to know the details and how the whole thing goes.
Yeah, absolutely. So one client I'm thinking about in particular is a fashion handbag brand. They
Mm-hmm.
are like a high-end handbag brand, and they're all e-commerce. So basically, their business is built around drops. And before partnering with us, they were doing about $500,000 to $1 million in revenue per drop.
Okay.
And after partnering with us, now their revenue per drop is 2 to 3 million consistently, sometimes closer to 4 million. So how that happened was, we just realized all of the money is made in advance. It's all about your urgency and the hype you're building before the drop, getting your customers lined up outside the door theoretically, right?
Right.
So they got to be ready when that drop goes live, and creating scarcity around the number of products, right? So that they are worried about missing out. They're worried the fear of loss is there. So getting tactical with it. We literally start planning these, like I said, months in advance. When they go on the calendar, their inventory is done weeks and weeks in advance. And we have all photo shoots and content and everything ready for starting to build our campaigns at least a month in advance. So our actual promotion of it typically starts like a week and a half, 2 weeks out. So what that could look like, I mean, a lot of founders probably look at it like if you're just imagining a graph and this is your promotion of a drop, a lot of brands go into it thinking, okay, here's no talking about the drop, and here's a bar of where's boom, the drop happened. We're talking about it right now for the 1 week that the drop is on, right? How it actually should work is here's 2 weeks in advance of the drop, and it's a bell curve. It starts to come up, and we're talking about it's ramping up to here. We're talking about it and promoting it in advance, and we literally ramp up the frequency of emails, SMS, push notifications, mentions on social organically, and ads and ad spend. We're ramping all of that up. And yeah, like how many banners on the site, how many banners in the app, how many countdown clocks, things like that. So we're ramping all of it up starting about a week and a half, 2 weeks out from the drop. The other tactical thing that I feel like a lot of our big brands hit, like that one that's crushing it with handbags. So VIP access, talking to your best customers differently, and talking to previous customers and big spenders, giving them early access to the drop is a huge tactical advantage. So if a drop's going live at Friday at 5 p.m., which you should always pick an exact time when it's going live, right, to create that urgency and scarcity, but we'll give access to the previous customers Thursday at 5 p.m., 1 day in advance. Does that make sense? So, combination of that, and then promoting it through the drop, whether it be a few days or a week, or a lot of big brands are carrying their drops for several weeks. And that's a big difference. Is a lot of small brands, they jump around. They don't really invest too much into each drop, right? They just do a photo shoot, talk about it on social, put an ad or two out there, and one email and SMS, one push notification. They talk about it one time, and then they move on the next Friday to the next drop, right? A lot of the biggest brands, they'll talk about it in advance. They'll promote it super heavily during, and then they'll keep talking about it and coming back to it as a reoccurring theme for weeks, a lot of times. So, lot to dive into as far as the tactics, but that's the gist of it. My opinion is the most important part, planning in advance. That's where the winners and losers are decided.
No, that's super interesting to know that how much effort that goes into, like, from a consumer side. I obviously it's the same thing, right? Like, I love the brands that drive anticipation for me. When I hear about it in advance, I think my mind is mentally picture that, okay, I need to be ready for this day. And from that first mail or from first communication that I receive, and then everything in between, be it a text, be it a push notification, is just a reminder for me to make sure that I remember that date and time. And I love that how you mentioned that you need to anchor it a particular timestamp to say that, okay, you know what, this is when I should be ready for.
for sure.
So are there like finer tactics to it? Is that something that you've seen where ideally it shouldn't be a weekend, or ideally it shouldn't be early in the morning? Is there like a very specific tactics around the timing of the launch in a given week?
That's a really good question. And we've seen Friday launches work best. Okay. A lot of the biggest brands, smartest people, they structured around paydays. When are most people paid, right? And like the 1st and 15th, they'll structure it around that time. So when most people are paid, they'll put it out on that Friday. So I think Fridays work best. People are in the buying mood. But we've seen it work on other days too. It's just most people choose Friday, and most of the big brands are always structuring around payday.
All right. No, that's cool. Now, if we can do a bit of an inverse, right? Like what you have seen, right? Maybe it's something that you have came in and fixed, or maybe something that you typically see with some of the folks that are out there who are not doing it. Like, what are they missing out big time when it comes to the drops? Like, of course, you did mention that planning in itself is one of the things, but let's say someone wanted is there a story where you have worked with a brand, and then when you go back to the history and look at it, is there something that you feel like, oh, this was a huge opportunity that was not taken advantage of, and then you guys were able to swoop in and then say, hey, you know what, let's just do this, which is outside of the whole planning thing?
One example of where a customer or someone on their team missed the mark was another e-com brand building anticipation for a big drop. And we had spent a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money on advertising in advance to this. And they had done several photo shoots. They had a lot of inventory ready to go, and a lot of hype was built around this drop. We had probably spent $50,000 in advance of this drop promoting this specific time. And right when it was supposed to go live, their website person dropped the ball, and the products weren't live on the site. And it probably cost them easily 6 figures for those 10 minutes of no products being on the site, but there were 50,000 visitors on the site ready to buy. So just making sure everything's live, even if that means you got to go live a few minutes in advance, just to be sure of when you're going to be live, when everyone's on. Making sure on the storefront side, your door's open, you're ready to take orders, no problems there, right? Fortunately, super fans actually kind of saved the day there, because all their app users were able to make purchases. The products were live in that channel, but they weren't live in the online store. So,
no, that's good to know. So, what you're also saying, that it's better to diversify, especially when it comes to bigger moments. There are things that you can't technically plan for, because you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
It might be just a few minutes to fix, but even in that window, when you have the diversification, you know that the customers have an alternate place where they can be. It's more about kind of planning for the unplanned, right?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons we originally started promoting superfans and apps to our clients, is because so many of them are at the mercy of Instagram and Meta. And if they lose their Instagram account or their Facebook, they could go out of business. If they don't have that relationship in multiple places. Another reason, build your app audience, build your SMS and your email audience. But really being able to have that real estate on the home screen has been really crucial. And actually, I had that conversation with one of our clients that, hey, you need to start building this other channel so you can own the relationship and get them out of Meta's ecosystem, so you're not at the mercy of Mark Zuckerberg. And then a couple months later, they actually lost their Instagram account, but they had 8,000 users in their app. Right. So they ended up getting it back, but it's just interesting that, having diversification of channels is a really good idea.
And the great thing about the mobile app channel is that it's not just a communication channel, but also a place for them to transact.
Yeah.
So you can build your email and SMS audience, but nobody can actually buy your product from their Gmail.
Right.
Or in their SMS messages. But the app gives you a place to own that communication and relationship with the client, and they can also transact with you there, just like your website. So best of both worlds.
Oh yeah, 100%. I keep saying that, mobile app is probably the only channel that kind of doubles as your marketing channel, where you can communicate as well as be a sales channel where people can transact, because there is literally nothing else where you can kind of combine both together. And the closest that comes to is basically just your website and then people directly visiting your website, but that is still a very small number, right? So you need to have that ability to pull people into your channels. So the marriage of marketing and sales together on the app is huge. So yeah, fully agreed. And probably diving a little bit on the tactical side, if we can give a really good takeaway for the audience when they are planning their launches, what would be the simplest thing that of course they need to plan, and there is a whole large, probably I would say, like a calendar, like there's a whole strategy that
Right.
needs to revolve. They need to take a step back. Probably I think this is the time that they should have already been on the, they should have covered like 30% of their journey for their BFCM. Is that right? If I can say, like we are like 2 months out.
hmm
So maybe close to 3 months out. So basically we need to start planning and then getting into it now. But if there are like little nuggets of tactical things that they could take over, which typically people might potentially miss out, but hey, you would recommend to say, take a look at if this is done. It's more like a 3-point checklist or a 5-point checklist, whatever it is. Is there something that you guys would advise people to take a look at?
Yeah. So I think we already hit on most of them. Content way in advance, inventory way in advance, starting to talk about it on social in advance, and that can be a couple weeks out. I don't think it needs to be months out. You start
Mm-hmm.
talking about it to your customers, but a couple weeks out, and then tactically on email, SMS, and push notification, we like to send the first one week out. And then we'll send, of course, the VIP one day to give them early access, maybe a couple other ones during the week too. But building up that email and SMS list and app subscribers, app downloads at the same time, building that up in advance so that they have access to it. We have like pre-sold VIP access like that. So it doesn't just go to customers, doesn't just go to the VIP customers. It goes to anyone who subscribes to that.
Right.
So one strategy is, using lead ads or using just, pop-ups on the site with a countdown clock that says, hey, this drop is happening on this date at this time. Register here to get early access.
Right.
And so we're sending and we're spending so much in advance. All of them are getting there. We're building up the email and SMS and app downloads just like crazy right before. And if you get people on your app, you get people subscribed to email and SMS, their chances of transacting just go up significantly. And we know that during the drop, we're going to be hitting them like crazy with email, SMS, and push notifications every day. So if you do the right things on those channels, I think you'll set yourself up pretty good.
Nice. And I'm very interested about how you mentioned about what you do very specifically for VIP. I could see that being a very consistent theme, that the most loyal customers or your top customers were there. How you make sure that they are taken care of in a very specific way. Is it always about early access? Is it always about showing that, hey, you are, of course you want to show them like they are important more than others,
Right.
but are there other ways outside of early access that you do as well?
Yeah. A couple ways I can think of, and feel free to chime in here too if you want. But first way I think of is like with VIP access. That is kind of, like I mentioned before, that goes to subscribers too. To the customers, the business owners refer to everyone as a VIP who is a previous customer, right?
Right.
But behind the curtain, we have a separate list of your best customers. Okay. So if you have 50,000 previous customers, we'll have a big spender list of probably 1,000.
Mhm.
So let's imagine your average order value is like $400 or $500. We'll have a list of the people, your customers, who have spent $2,000 or $3,000 with you, and that's across 4 or 5 plus purchases. So it's not just they made one big purchase and they may
Right.
never know who you are, but if someone's transacted with you 4 or 5 separate times, they really love the brand, right? So a couple ways we've used that. Of course, they should receive every communication from you, right? You're not going to email, text, or push notification those people too much. They're not going to get annoyed because they really love the brand. They're your best customers, best source of new customers, by getting referrals and stuff and getting them to talk about it. But another way is we've seen some of our best clients do surprise and delight to those. So one client I'm thinking of is a boutique brand, clothing brand, and she just sent to her top 500 big spenders, mailed them a physical $100 gift card. Wow. To the store with no limits, no spend 200 or more, just mailed them a physical $100 gift card. And we tracked it and it returned like crazy. It was super profitable. They spent way more than $100. So yeah, treating them differently. You can also use those big spenders as a way to test things. So test channels. Another one of our clients was rolling out a membership style, kind of like Restoration Hardware's membership, right? Mm-hmm. So I think memberships are great if you have a huge brand like that. But they were testing it too. They wanted to get the feedback of the top few hundred customers. And they actually decided not to move forward with it because of that. Because of their feedback from their best customers, right? So being able to use them as a sample set and get real feedback is a great idea too.
Nice. So basically now you are making sure that the top customers have a small say in the decision making, right? Be it about introducing new programs. I believe that some of them might also test the bed with, a few of the waters, a few of the, what do I say, like the new launches, be it the clothing line. Okay, I am usually, I have a very specific line that my customers like, but I'm going to go out of my way to try something new. Maybe it's not related to clothing at all. Maybe it's related to accessories. I'm going to test the waters there. Maybe is that something that people try it out too? Like, hey, I'm going to do this drop, but this whole line is just for my VIP audience, nobody else.
Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. Yeah. Rolling out, testing things to them, it works really well. Even if you're not testing it publicly, you just send them an email. I've seen some brands send out like an email from the founder. So it'll say name at company, and it's just a plain text email that goes out saying, hey, I'm just sending this to 100 of y'all, my best customers, biggest spenders, VIPs. Mm-hmm. Give me your honest feedback about this, and attach a photo or drop in a photo. It's not a polished email, it's just super gritty. Yeah. And the feedback on those is way better than, if you send a super polished email, like you're saying to everybody, which you should be doing that, but getting your feedback from your best core audience. Yeah. I really like that idea.
No, that's really nice. And when you are doing all of this, right, especially when you are doing this with a VIP audience, is that something that you publicly acknowledge as well, like kind of giving a small amount of FOMO of the other audience? Oh, this brand treats their VIP in a really good way. Like one of the things that I love when I see, like I want to be a part of VIP as well on a regular basis, is whenever I go on the flights, right, I see the members getting preferred showing that preferred early access to the flight, where they can jump into the gate ahead of all of us. They purposefully call out to say, okay, you know what, American preferred members fly in here ahead of everyone else. Like, so it's kind of like a public acknowledgement of a private benefit.
Sure.
Right? Is that something that you guys recommend or you've seen brands do?
Yeah, going back to the VIP access, that's exactly where you use that. It's just you lean on it the whole week in advance of your drop. You lean on, hey, you don't want to miss out on VIP access. These VIPs, if you register right now, you download the app right now, you're going to get the first shot at the best products, and these will sell out.
Yeah.
Right. So you definitely have to be there for VIP access. Register, subscribe. But as far as like the big spender lists, we don't promote those really. Okay. We don't really talk about like, hey, if you spend over this amount or something like that. But using the VIP list and early access list, that's a great strategy. It's all big brands do that, I feel like. So
that's nice. All right. So I want to lean into from what you guys do from an agency perspective, right? Obviously, for all of these launches, the brand gets the credit, the founders get the credit, but you guys are running the show behind the scenes. Now, from your perspective, right? Like if you want to kind of look into the future and say, hey, this is how I see the world going, be it not just specifically to launches or product drops, but it could be how the whole e-commerce is evolving. There is so much changes happening over the last few years. Obviously, the biggest elephant in the room is AI, but on the side, the way social media has evolved, the way TikTok has evolved into people's lives over the last few years, everything has been changing. So what do you see, how the world of commerce, how the world of the whole thing related to launches, especially on the digital side, how do you think that's evolving over the next course, or maybe not too far, of course, 5 years, 10 years, we could all play the predictor game, but something that is like maybe like a year from now, what do you think that how the world will be start doing more of it? Are you already seeing that early traction somewhere in some of your own customers?
I think the growth of live selling is a good indicator
Mhm.
of the kind of experience that people want. Even if it's not actually through live selling, just use that as an example of how we want to feel when we're shopping.
Yeah.
So it's not going away for sure. If we're talking about the next year, it's
Hmm.
probably just going to be bigger. Um, Incorporating that experience into drops, giving people the anticipation that they're going to be a part of something, and then a common time where we're all coming together for this event that they're going to be a part of. If you can be live streaming along the side of a drop, excellent. But just bring that to that kind of experience to the shopping journey for all of your customers, whether it's part of a drop or a BFCM, so that they get to have that kind of association with the community of
Right.
everyone else, all the other customers, and get involved in an event happening that has to do with their shopping.
Right. No, I think it's crazy about live selling, right? I personally have been a part of several lives on Whatnot, the tool where
Hmm.
like people drop, crazy things with shoes, watches, and stuff. But I can see that energy moving more and more on the positive side, as you said, almost every month now, because I think live sale, the whole idea of going live and engaging with your customers kind of dropped in with probably with Facebook, I guess, maybe about 10 years back. And people have been talking about it as though this is the next big thing, this is the next big thing. But it never really happened in the way that people wanted. But I think, especially with TikTok and especially
Hmm.
with social media, the way you do live sales earlier was a very different. I think now it's more like how you mentioned, right? Like, it's more like bringing together your larger customers and letting them engage with each other while they are watching and viewing you talk, kind of giving you the vibe between, hey, that it's not just a brand, there is a human behind this brand as well. Like, kind of add that, what kind of tell them that, hey, this is how the emotions run. Like, when we do a sale, this is how we launch, this is how the excitement goes, this is how we want people to interact. And then you see other customers going excited about it, saying that, oh, I'm going to purchase, or someone even saying that I've already purchased it. That gives you that real vibe to say, oh, I'm now not just sitting behind my phone, I'm probably virtually, but it's like I'm standing outside of the door in a physical store where there are like thousands queued up, right? So I think,
Exactly.
is
Yeah.
that a move that you see happening more and more with your customers with live?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think hitting on a few things: scarcity, urgency, social proof, right?
Right.
And you see a lot of other customers and they're buying, and I think that's where commerce is going. Obviously, there's never going to be a problem with transacting online, but I feel like people are enjoying shopping live.
Hmm.
Yeah, because of what you were saying. So one number I saw the other day was that 2025 is going to be about 19 billion in live selling
Wow.
revenue, and
Is that
by
just in the US or
no, worldwide. But
worldwide? All right.
2034, they're expecting 230 billion.
Wow.
We're looking
Wow.
9 years out, so
Hmm.
it is very quickly growing landscape and changing. And I feel like, getting tactical with everybody for a second, TikTok is the place to go live right now. It's just rewarding. It is rewarding live selling better than the other platforms right now. But certainly the answer is going live everywhere. You want to be live on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, your app. You want to be live everywhere, but TikTok, especially right now, for new reach, new customers, is
Hmm.
working really well.
And is obviously, I kind of already know the answer, but how tilted TikTok is towards very younger audience, or you see a lot of older audience, because a lot of customers who have been there at least for 10 years now, I think their audience are probably already into their 30s,
Hmm.
right? So now the early problem that I've seen with our own customers, asking them, hey, do you do TikTok? They're like, no, no, my customers aren't using TikTok. They were that OG crowd who started with Facebook. Now they're on Instagram, maybe, but TikTok is not a scene. But do you still see that trend, or you also see people who are kind of like those OG brands 10 years back? Are they also now tilting towards TikTok because their customers are hopping in more and more every day?
Yeah, it's definitely both, but that's completely accurate. I mean, it is definitely the 18 to 30
Yeah.
crowd on TikTok, I feel like, but they're doing so much revenue that it's
Yeah.
not just that not
Right.
just that age in there. There are definitely people at all ages in there shopping. But then Instagram 31 to 50 or so,
Yeah.
Facebook 51 plus.
Mhm.
What's interesting is looking at this week, I was looking at through just revenue and looking at, for a lot of our clients, attribution to the different platforms, and Facebook is still the winner. So Facebook is still the winner right now as far as paid ad revenue, especially if you're selling something over $300 ticket. It's just it's Facebook, and a lot of
Right.
times it is that older crowd. It's 55 plus or 45 plus. Obviously, it depends on the business, depends on the brand, but Facebook has those big spenders.
No, that's great. Awesome. And like, probably the only other question outside of all of this, right? Like, what I would kind of want to know is, you talked about some of the biggest, customers that we are able to push in terms of revenue, especially with drops and everything. But is there a specific style of customers you typically work with, just to let people know that what's ShopFuel is really good at, and what where people can come in and where you can immediately show them that, hey, this is what we are good at, and this is where we can show you that delta from month one, from month two. What would that be? I think that's a really good way to probably for us to close our segment, understanding more about ShopFuel. That's something that I want to ask you guys.
Yeah, we work really well with e-commerce brands who are in that growth phase from 100,000 a month to 1 million a month, where they're looking to get a direct return on their investment in their marketing. And like I said before, we fit in well with showing them, here's the work that we're doing, the results that it's bringing you, and how we're going to take you to the next level. Within the Shopify brands, fashion and apparel and accessories, since those brands tend to have new inventory that they're dropping regularly, that fits in well with our strategy, and we're able to help a lot there.
Nice. All right. I think we have kind of come to the closure of the segment, and really loved having you guys here. Thanks a lot for taking that drive. I know that this is something we didn't plan for weeks in advance, like probably what we should do with drops. We just planned it like yesterday. I was like, texting you guys, like, this is the location. Do you guys are available? I know that there are a lot of commitments you guys have to, figure it out just to be here and be a part of this. Really appreciate taking the time, sharing these amazing, knowledge of nuggets and with all of us. And I think it's been a great session, and we would love to host you guys again, maybe few months out, like telling your war stories about the coming up VFCM, what you did, how this is how we planned the launch. I said now you can talk about how the launch went, maybe sometime.
Yeah.
I think that we would love to have you guys again and do that. And looking forward, we are going to do more of these sessions with agencies, brands alike, talking about their own stories on how they do drops. This is Drop Culture. Really loving having you guys here. Thanks a lot for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.